Hello and welcome to CEN 4801. In this session, we will address systems integration requirements. What kind of requirements should we look for? How to analyze them, prioritize them, and translate these requirements to successful integrated system. Requirements are the needs and expectations of stakeholders from the integrated system. Those requirements will be translated into functions, characteristics, and attributes of the new integrated system. Integration requirements are implicitly tied to ensuring that the integrated system provides desired functionality and utility. The role of requirements is the identification of the essential characteristics of the system or the integrated system which ensures achievement of that integrated system goal or objectives. The requirements of an integrated system should be clearly identified, then prioritized based on their importance and impact on the goal of the new integrated system. Once requirements are identified and prioritized, a feasibility analysis will be conducted to ensure that each one of these requirements can be translated into a system's function or characteristic. In addition, the consequences and risks of integrating systems or these systems should be identified. The risk will be categorized and a mitigation plan will be developed. The requirements are usually categorized based on their type or level of example, like based on the level. For example, we can look at the system level, functional level, or procedural level, or so on. Integrating different systems that might operate different software packages, different protocols, different methods and tools, different interfaces, or we're dealing with legacy system will increase the complexity of the integration. Knowing requirements specifications will assist in the proper translation of these requirements into a formal representation of the interrelated units. The output of this process serves as a blueprint of system or the integrated system which guides and controls all the subsequent integration activities, which is referred to as integration architecture. Basically, this is similar to the same architecture that we created at the system level, but now with more interaction and additional complexity since we are dealing with subsystems and other systems integrated with each other. The complexity of the systems integration process may be determined by the functional and physical decomposition of the system architecture. Through the architecture, each subsystem role and functions will be defined and allocated. To clearly identify systems integration requirements, we need to collect data related to the integration process and the purpose of the integration, then analyze it. The collected data will be verified with the stakeholders through interviews and surveys to make sure that we are collecting the proper data for that integration. In addition, systems constraints, limitations, and assumptions should be defined, documented, and analyzed to make sure that integration goals and objectives will be met. As a result to the analyzed data and constraints, integration activities can be identified. Once integration requirements are clearly identified, a prioritization list should be developed to prioritize stakeholders' requirements based on their ranking. The priorities for what the management requires, what users requires, what owners requires, contractors requires, vendors requires. So we have to prioritize all these requirements, and based on that, it will be included or analyzed and included in the architecture, translated into functions, utilities, and other things. The same will happen with the constraints, limitations, and assumptions. They need to be prioritized and categorized or classified. With Knowing all these constraints, limitations, assumptions, and requirements, we can prioritize the activities, the integration activities that we are going to perform on the system integration process. Despite the large investments that are made, many integration efforts fail for a number of technical, organizational, managerial, and migration planning reasons. A feasibility study need to be conducted to ensure that systems integration requirements can be met. For example, we can look at the technical issues originated from legacy systems that was not tested for compatibility. We have a system that should stay there, and we are surrounding that system with new technologies, but we're not sure that it will work with them. That's a problem. So that should be tested for compatibility before doing any integration. We could be using data that was not designed for sharing through the integrated system, and that's another problem that we need to understand, and that will be identified when we are doing feasibility study. Or the scope of the integration is not adequately defined. We don't know exactly what do we need exactly from that integration, and that is also a problem, and should be identified once we have a feasibility study conducted. Risk originating from not capturing the right requirements should be identified, and it should be assessed, then categorized. A plan to mitigate and respond to the risk should be developed with alternative solutions if possible. Risk should be documented and monitored for future challenges and issues, whether for this system or for other new integrated system that will be similar to this system. Key to integration is to enforce standard attributes for requirements to enable mapping and traceability. When we say traceability, we mean tracing system requirements to key performance parameters or attributes or characteristics, or tracing required capabilities to functional concepts. Also, the mapping, which is system requirements to the integrated system functions, or operational requirements to capabilities. So this traceability and mapping will assist us in knowing that we are implementing the integration correctly. Once the requirements being translated and the integration implemented, system integrators should be able to identify gaps in functionality by leveraging requirements traceability, architectures, and mapping. That will assist in determining where the dollar, where should you put the dollars, or allocate the dollars for technology or material development, so you can cover that gap or fix that gap. Of course, when you are integrating a system, that does not mean that the integrated system that will be created will be 100% working without any problems. You will have certain gaps, and it will be easy at that point with the analysis and with the feasibility study and with all the requirements collection and analysis for these requirements will assist you in knowing what those gaps are and how to address each one of them. With the clear requirements, system integrators should be able to look across the integrated system requirements to look for best candidates for common solutions and propose a solution for these, alternative solutions for these. At that point, the requirements represented by the integrated system should match organizational strategies and the objectives of the integration process or systems integration. That will be all for this session. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via email, phone, Skype, or face-to-face. Thank you and have a great day.